Joining me now to talk more about today's arraignment, trial attorney and legal analyst Brian Claypool. Nice to see you. I talked to an attorney earlier about what we can expect today, and she actually said she didn't think that any of these indictments would make it to trial, any of these cases, New York, Florida, or this one in D.C. What do you think?
Hey, Marty, nice to be back with you. I'm not sure I agree with that. I think this current indictment is probably not going to see its way to trial. I don't think the charges by Alvin Bragg regarding the Stormy Daniels payment is going to make it to trial. I think the case that might get to trial is the classified document case, because you had a superseding indictment about a week ago, Marnie, that is really troubling for President Trump regarding his alleged attempt to obstruct justice by deleting the videotapes and boxes being removed. So it'd be hard pressed to see that case not getting to trial. But the big question is, will it get to trial before the presidential election? And I doubt that.
Yeah. And why not this one? What do you think muddies the waters for this case?
Yeah, it was a little bit disheartening to hear Merrick Garland say in that clip you showed, this was the most extensive investigation we've done, because the weakest investigation his office has ever done is into Hunter Biden. So I think this indictment, unfortunately, Marnie, shows the country that we really have two paths of justice. One path for the privileged in the Democratic Party, a son of a sitting president who's getting preferential treatment left and right, who's getting plea deals that include unconstitutional guarantees that we're not going to investigate you anymore, we're not going to charge you anymore. That's ridiculous. And then we have another path of justice, which I believe in this indictment shows that the DOJ is trying to stop President Trump from being elected by charging him with something that I personally think is ludicrous. Why? Conspiracy, Marnie, is a really difficult crime to prove, regardless of the context of this. You have to prove an agreement, an intentional agreement by two people to defraud the country. But here's the kicker. Here's where I think he loses. You have to have an overt act carried out in furtherance of this agreement.
Is that not January 6th, though? That's not what we saw, the overt act?
No, that's not President Trump doing the overt act. That's individuals making conscious decisions on their own to go in and riot the Capitol building. And I think, unfortunately, what people in this country wanted to see is whether the DOJ, Marnie, had an inciting a riot charge. That is a charge. If they had the evidence on that, then I would agree with you. But Trump didn't tell people to go over there and ransack the Capitol building. Other individuals made a choice to violate the law. But I just don't see the evidence of Trump carrying out an overt act. In fact, what I see is a scorned loser of a presidential election. It was a tight race. And what he's doing is what he always does. By the way, I'm not saying what he did is right, to make that clear. I just don't think it's criminal. I think you had a guy that was investigating whether he could find evidence to overturn the election. That's vastly different than I'm going to go hire somebody. I'm going to go hire 500 people and pay them, for example, to say that, I voted for President Trump, but my vote was categorized as a vote for Biden. Now, that's an overt act.
Yeah. So, I understand that not using incitement as a charge here, but obstruction and the word is I'm not coming up with the word. Obstruction and
defrauding the U.S. is the other.
Yeah. I didn't get enough sleep last night. Let's talk about Bill Barr for a moment, Brian. He served as Trump's attorney general, said free speech argument is invalid since any conspiracy involves speech. There are limits to free speech. How do you read that element?
Yeah, I saw his interview. And I agree with Bill Barr in part, and I disagree with Bill Barr in part. Here's what I agree with. He's right. If you are trying to allege free speech, but you are actually committing a crime. For example, let's say, Marnie, you're defaming somebody. You're saying something defamatory about somebody on the face of your words. Then that's not protected by the First Amendment, because you're breaking the law. But conversely, here's where I disagree with Bill Barr. I just don't think the evidence they have on former President Trump about what he was trying to do rises to the level of committing a crime. And if it's not, if his conduct, what he's telling people to do doesn't violate federal law, then it is protected by the First Amendment. So that's what a judge and a jury is going to have to ferret out.
Yeah, they will. Conspiracy and obstruction. Those are the two things I was reaching for. Brian, as always, thank you for your time.
Thanks,
All right.
Marnie.